You're watching UnrealEntGaming. This is Gohan from Dragon Ball Z. You want to see me turn Super Saiyan? Or should I take it to the next level? I'm also the narrator, too. Next time on Dragon Ball Z, make sure and smash subscribe to UnrealEntGaming.
There is a massive battle looming over the horizon to determine the fate of not only planet Earth, but all of its residents, including our heroes within it, as Dragon Ball Super Manga chapter number 58 looms over the horizon, with Goku being the first person amongst himself and Vegeta to get to Earth first. It's safe to assume that right now Goku is further going to at some point engage himself against Sagambo, 7-3, perhaps Shimoreka, and eventually Moro, but even after that ends up being the case, what is going to be the fate of Vegeta, and are we looking at a massive W coming towards Vegeta's direction as Vegeta looks to return to Earth with a new power and a new ability to finally put the big baddie of this arc down? As once more, before we begin, if you guys are new to this channel and have a love and passion for all things Dragon Ball and anime related, then I do encourage you guys to smash that subscribe button and turn on all notifications to never miss a single upload on this channel, as well as giving this video a big thumbs up by slapping that like button down below if you guys are simply stoked, ready, and excited to see Ultra Instinct Goku in action again, along with Vegeta, who is purposely being kept as the last person to arrive on Earth for a obvious surprise. And I do believe that if there was ever a time to give Vegeta a massive victory, I think this would be it. And I think that right now what we're potentially looking at is a victory coming from Vegeta this time and not Goku. Now this arc is eerily similar and picking up vibes from the Saiyan arc in Dragon Ball Z, a little bit from the Android arc, a little bit from the Frieza saga, borrowing elements a little bit from ROF, and I think that by establishing this narrative with everyone having to be present on Earth, it further goes on to illustrate the level of threat that Moro poses along with his team, and this is going to be something that's really going to be pushing our heroes to their limit, but I think that by the end with Vegeta getting there, it's going to be a massive game changer. Keep in mind, when Vegeta was talking to Pybrara, Vegeta was able to pick up every little detail happening on Earth and further telling Pybrara that there was no need to go back because he knew that Moro was not engaging himself in action yet, while Goku was struggling just to simply go back to Earth and reading everyone's energy. So Vegeta obviously now has better spirit control, he's in a better mindset assumingly than Goku, because Pybrara even confirmed that Vegeta had mastered his spirit control a lot better than Goku, but the question is, can Vegeta do it? Now, joining me here today to further discuss the concept idea of Vegeta battling Moro as the finale of this arc is my good friend and Dragon Ball YouTuber Emosh. Now Emosh, this is rather interesting because with Vegeta being kept to come in last, I think that it illustrates a point that Toyotaro is trying to prove. Now I'm just gonna ask you right off the bat, how effective do you believe Vegeta is going to be after Goku ends up fighting against Moro and his men? Do you think that perhaps Goku is going to weaken Moro or weaken his men, that creates an opening for Vegeta to step in and ultimately clean house? Or do you think that by the end Goku is going to have no effect, and then once Vegeta gets there, there's going to be absolute chaos that ensues because Vegeta's gonna end up mollywopping everybody?
Yeah, so I think, asking that question, and it's not just you either, maybe people thinking that in the comment section, let us know. It's a call to action right there, right? So people forget that as Goku's fighting Moro can still passively just steal the energy from Gohan and Piccolo and company. Forget 17, 18, but literally everything else behind them. Anything that isn't Goku, right? Because obviously he wants to fight Goku. I'd imagine he wants to fight him, which kind of gives us, we have reason to believe that mainly because Moro is looking to stall this as much as possible. So Moro is basically, for those of you guys who are Naruto fans, you guys will get this reference. He's basically the Madara of Dragon Balls. Based on what we've seen so far, there's no logical way to defeat him outside of maybe stealing him, right? Right now, I have every reason to believe that sealing him is the key. I don't know. I mean, if not killing him, then sure, sealing him would be obviously the next best bet. But again, as he's fighting UI Goku or Goku or whatever, and Goku's softening him up, fine. He could just still steal the energy of people who isn't Goku anyway. And then Vegeta comes in and he's fighting up against a freshly squeezed lemon juice Goku, souped up Moro. So it's just at that point you're back to square one, and what it really comes down to is Vegeta's techniques at that point. So I think Vegeta will come in really cool fashion. You kind of expect for Vegeta to kill somebody. He has a habit of doing that, whether it's a good or bad thing. It's up to you. It's subjective. I kind of like it. I like when he kills people because he does it so like. His face is just like, all right, bro, kudaran, like ridiculous. He just does it. Yeah, like, he just does it casually. He's at one with killing things, right? So, again, it really set the stage to see what Vegeta can do. I don't think people will like it. And I don't think, if anything, as Torotaro is like writing this stuff out and putting Akira's work into fruition, I don't think he's thinking to himself, hey, let's have Vegeta, a freshly souped up Vegeta, fight up against a weakened Moro, and then Vegeta wins that way. Gee, I wonder how people feel about that. I mean, you can consider that, sure, because it's still possible, right? I mean, we've seen a lot of things happen in Dragon Ball Super that we thought wasn't going to happen, and then it just happens. And, it just really comes down to Vegeta being able to flex the things that he can do now. He came back. We saw him shoot that little spirit gun that God Goku did in the anime, in the Tournament of Power, right? And he just like nuked everything in front of him. He was just like, he couldn't even believe it, So imagine that, right? So you kind of want Vegeta to really show, we want to see what Vegeta can do. Whether you're a fan of him or not, it doesn't really matter at that point. What matters most is whether or not the chapter is good, whether or not what you're reading is worth talking to your friends about. And I think seeing stuff like that will make it worth talking to your friends about. As far as like Vegeta being the be-all end-all, I think the stage is kind of setting up for that. Ultimately, I am used to seeing both him and Goku work together. It's really that simple. You don't like it? Hey, vent about it, talk to your friends about it, go on Twitter and just rant about it, fine. But that doesn't mean, that you just put the stuff down. If it was still an enjoyable read, if you still look back at it and say, damn, this was a really cool chapter, yeah, then sure. That's what matters most, if anything. So personally, my opinion, I'm used to seeing Goku and Vegeta work together. It doesn't really matter who gets the finishing blow. I'm just really used to seeing them work together. And, the idea of UI Goku and Vegeta learning the stuff that he's learned, seeing that in one fight against one common enemy, yeah, I would really like to see that. Like whether it's instant transmission, whether it's all these other techniques that Vegeta learns, in addition to just UI Omen or UI Goku just blitzing everything, it's like we're going to see two different fighters go up against someone who is also a different being altogether, and that's Moro. Like we've never seen someone like Moro before. He's not Jiren, right? And what I mean by that is, I'm not talking about strength. I'm talking about Jiren was an actual fighter. Beerus fights, Goku fights, Vegeta fights, Broly fights. Moro doesn't fight. He does some shenanigans. So yeah, I'd like to see them work together to take this guy down.
See, that's interesting because you present the idea of them working together, where I think if that were to be the case, then that would only further the narrative that neither one of them alone can get the job done. Now, I don't think we've seen them both collectively try to attack Moro as they did with Broly and Jiren, so that's interesting. They've yet to simultaneously sync up and attack this dude, but I think that if they were to do that, then I don't really see Moro kind of surviving, especially if it's Perfected Super Saiyan Blue or Super Saiyan Blue Evolution, whichever version you want to call it, and MUI Goku together. That's basically trouble for Moro. So it's a very interesting idea, but let me ask you, do you think that Vegeta is going to be the one who defeats the main villain of this arc, to where I think he should? And I do believe that Goku should have his moment. He should have another arc to himself later, way later, I think after he masters Ultra Instinct, but not now, because the way Vegeta had been set up throughout this entire arc kind of illustrates the narrative that this is going to be Vegeta's moment. He was frustrated because his god powers got him nowhere, and he's learning basic skills and techniques to aid him while on top of using his god power to finish the job, whereas Goku is further tapping into a power that rivals that of the gods, and that's what separates the two. So do you believe that Vegeta is going to ultimately just get the W? And if you do believe that's the case, then do you think that it's necessary given the fact that he's going to do it with help? Or do you believe that people are still going to complain because he didn't do it by himself?
Yeah, so I think Vegeta's kind of, come to terms with the idea of no matter how stronger he gets, no matter how much better he gets, don't worry, I'm not going to say that he won't beat Goku. I wasn't going to say that. That he'll have to inevitably work with Goku, but then Goku kind of knows that from the get-go. So it's not a detriment to either character's, position, if anything, right? Goku knows that he can't do anything on his own. And when was the last time that he actually has? I mean, outside of like fighting Jiren, but even then he needed teamwork. Like the anime is the same thing. So for the most part, Goku knows this from the get-go. Vegeta likes to try to do things on his own, but then, inevitably he just ends up needing some help here and there. And that's why I liked Vegeta's realization in Goku's fight against Kid Buu, where he just basically told Kakarot that he was the best. Like that's what I took from that. I was like, okay, yeah, Vegeta understands, that Goku may not be the strongest being all the time, but that's what makes him different. Like this guy just doesn't get put down, and obviously it's scripted that way, but that's what also makes Vegeta's character better as well. And these last few chapters have been proof of that, in the sense where he's kind of training to find ways to defeat Moro, to counter his magic and all this other stuff. And I mean, I'll give you a scenario. Maybe Goku just, we see some UI Omen action or whatever, but then Goku's just completely out of it after that. And then it's really up to Vegeta and the Daikaio. The Daikaio wakes up, Majin Buu wakes up, and then Vegeta weakens Moro. And then because of Vegeta, they're able to seal Moro. At that point, Vegeta still takes the W, but Vegeta still needed someone's help. So the whole complaining about, he couldn't do it without Goku, well, like I said, kick rocks, because, well, then what if Vegeta needed the Daikaio's help, his sealing magic? Unless the Yardrats know that technique, which I don't think is likely. Is it possible? Sure. But I don't think it's likely, right? It's at that point, Vegeta still needed help. He couldn't have done it by himself, right? And maybe they don't want to kill off Moro specifically. They just want to seal his power away, and then this time make sure that they can't get access to it again. I don't know, right? But at that point, again, Vegeta still needed help, right? So ultimately, I will agree with you that that this is the first time in a long time that it's really difficult to speculate this entire arc so far. The only thing that we've really been able to speculate is Merus being an angel. That's it. And, outside of that, everything has just been like, how are they going to fight Moro? Forget how are they going to beat him. How can they actually fight this man? How can they logically fight this man or this goat? Because you can't really touch him. And even if you do, he just steals your stuff. Like, so what do you do with it? You have to either kill him or find a way to seal his power. That's the only kind of speculation-based, mindset that I have about that right now.
And that's what makes this so interesting. And it's not about being a Goku fanboy or a Vegeta fanboy, because people want to root for specific characters because they believe in them and they believe in the narrative that they set for a specific story. So I think this is why this entire arc is basing itself around Vegeta's narrative, because Vegeta looks like he's being placed in a position of victory, and if that were to be the case, then at least you're going to give him the spotlight over Goku, just for the time being, of course, until we dive further into other arcs. But what about in terms of skill sets and techniques? How will Vegeta's training come in handy against Moro, and how do you think Vegeta is going to finish this? Because it's interesting to note that we've always been referencing Moro being defeated, but never kind of referencing the idea of him being captured again or sealed away. So do you think that's possible? Is it possible for him to basically be put away or sealed away in some kind of manner? Or do you think that with Moro, for his character, he needs to be killed off because you simply can't keep a guy like this around given his threat level?
It's Goku. He likes fighting people stronger than him, being stronger than him. So there's nothing really impressive about that, only because, again, that's what he does. We've known this for a long time. That's what Goku likes to do. When he hears about stronger beings coming, into the picture, he's like, oh boy, he's like a little kid at a candy store at that point. But in Vegeta's case, like I said before, like I said many times over the last few videos that we've discussed, talking about Vegeta and the Moro arc as a whole, it's the first time Vegeta's actually considered training under somebody that isn't himself, right? Like, it's the first time we've seen him do that. I mean, outside of WHIS. I'm not going to count WHIS only because it kind of feels like they haven't really been training with WHIS that much, but ultimately, it's Vegeta's learning actual techniques now, and that's what we've known Goku to do. Goku's entire arsenal isn't his own. It's stuff that he's picked up over the course of X amount of time, and that's what makes him the total package, And then for Vegeta, he's a great fighter. He just doesn't have an arsenal, and I mean, like, arsenal in the sense where, like, we're talking about more than just the Gallic gun. I mean, we're talking about things that are really situational. Like, Goku has things in his toolkit. He has the Spirit Bomb, he has the Kaioken, instant transmission, and now here we are with Vegeta, just that key control kind of thing, that spirit control. That's kind of a big deal, and it's kind of interesting that they call it spirit control specifically, right? Because now it's like, if Moro, I just think that Vegeta can just neg it just nullify it because he has that much control over his own chi, over his own spirit, that you can actually prevent Moro from taking it, right? Because if you have more, for example, let's say you're trying, it's probably a bad example, but let's just say you're trying to steal something from me, right? And I could just prevent you from doing it. I have more resistance than you being able to pull from me. I can actually pull back greater than what you can pull from me. So in that instance, I guess the same kind of methodology kind of applies here, where if Vegeta has that level of spirit control, Moro just can't take his power, and then Vegeta's just like no diffing this guy, and then ultimately that's what it comes down to. But then it is kind of a detriment to Moro. But at this point, Moro is scripted to be damn near unbeatable, to the sense where it is logical for Vegeta to be able to counter him in that sense, right? So I think that will play a pretty big factor there. And then ultimately, I still think the ceiling thing is kind of like the way to go, considering that they are still kind of, emphasizing the Daikaio and his technique and all this other crap, right? So yeah, I just think Vegeta will definitely put on the show. I don't think it'll be just his show though. And if it is, I'd be surprised. I don't think it would take away from the quality or the content of the manga itself. I think we can agree here when I say I just don't think, I just hope it's not rushed, right? Because they have a bad habit of doing that. The Tournament of Power, I understood only because the movie was coming out. But even then, we never really got a manga for the movie, for the events that took place there. I still hope we do someday, but yeah, the fact that we didn't, and they just really went into the Moro arc, and now, so far, the arc itself has been really enjoyable and pretty damn fun to read. I just really hope they don't just blow out the ending to the point where, in the sense where the villain Moro is purposely stalling and taking his time. So I feel like the person writing the manga should do the same thing in the hero's favor, like in the protagonist's favor at that point. So that would get something worth reading. It's not just like, okay, next chapter is the final chapter, see you guys in 6 months for the next movie or whatever it is that we get at that point.
This is getting very interesting, and I'm calling it right now. It's going to be Vegeta's moment, and I think he deserves it, because Goku should have a moment later by fighting someone way more superior than Moro in perfecting Ultra Instinct. But in the end, I want to get your thoughts in the comment section below about Vegeta possibly winning this by the end and being the one to defeat the main villain of this arc. Do you believe that it's logical, or do you think that Goku in some way, shape, or form is going to step in and take the spotlight away? Thank you all so much for watching, guys. Once again, if you guys are new to this channel, I do encourage you guys to hit that subscribe button. It literally takes 3 seconds. You click, you enable all notifications, and that's it. You're a part of the squad, and we're almost just about to reach 700,000 subscribers. We're literally right there, guys, so be sure to spread the word about the channel. Hit this video up with a big fat like if you guys want to see Vegeta get the W over Moro, because I think it's needed. I think that it makes sense for now. And if they want to give Goku the spotlight later, they can. At least we would know in the back of our minds that Vegeta was able to clear house in getting the victory over Goku, at least for a villain in an arc. So again, thank you all so much for your time. Check out Emosh's channel. I will link Emosh's channel down in the description box below. I highly encourage you guys to go on ahead and check his channel out as well. Thank you all so much for your time. Thank you, Emosh, so much for joining me. Tune back in for more, and I'll be seeing you all down in the comment section below. Take it easy, guys. Peace. And a quick little reminder before you guys go, if you guys are unaware, I do have a second gaming channel located down in the description box below, so be sure to head on over to Unreal Royale and hit that subscribe button along with turning on all notifications, as to there, you guys will find all different kinds of gaming content that you will not get to find on UnrealEntGaming, titles and video games such as Grand Theft Auto, Call of Duty, Gears of War, Dragon Ball Z Dokkan Battle, Dragon Ball Z Legends, Dragon Ball Z Budokai Tenkaichi 3, Minecraft, Blair Witch, and many other retro games on that channel. So if you guys are into gaming, then make sure you guys subscribe over on Unreal Royale. I want to thank you all so much for your time, and I'll catch you all in the next one.
This is the Galactic Emperor of the Universe, and of course I'm here to tell you to subscribe to UnrealEntGaming.
Also follow UnrealEntGaming on these social media platforms to stay connected at all times. And if you don't, then very soon you will all be dead! Oh, did someone say UnrealEntGaming? Oh my god.
The fuck's up, on? Put on some clothes!
Well, why don't you put on any clothes?
What? I don't need clothes. Jesus Christ, that's huge! What, Broly?
Frieza.
Uh-oh.
Prepare to die!
UnrealEntGaming, but once you get video, lots of likes, or Bill will turn you into chocolate!
Vados, get over here.
Tell these mortals that I'm the biggest UnrealEntGaming fan. This is my moment. I'm a part of his notification squad. Universe 7 can have all the fun. I just want the food.
And don't forget to leave a comment on this video. Show some love for the best community on YouTube.
Kakarot!